Alright, what's up guys, it's Kostov here, and today I wanted to share another story from my college years at UNC Charlotte, and it involves something epically stupid that at the time seemed like a lot of fun and really just ended up in a total clusterfuck. And the cast of characters for this shit show is myself, my friend Chris, you know, the kid who eventually ended up suing me, the dorm's RA, and a bunch of firefighters. And the night actually started out pretty late. We had planned to go jump around all these random frat parties that were like really close to our dorm room, but we didn't end up going until like 11 o'clock, and usually these parties get shut down like around 1:32 because it is kind of a residential area. It is a college, but this isn't one of those massive party schools where they have like a fraternity row. They eventually built that like by my senior year, but at the time they were all still in these like little neighborhoods just around the area. And the cops kind of let them get away with it, but right around like 1:30 they would always come in and break up the party. Now this was college and them was the broke days, so it wasn't like we had all this beer and alcohol to get all wasted all the time, and plus we were under 21. So most of the time we would go to these frat parties and just kind of like bum beers off of people, or we'd all throw in and get like one of those cheap $10 cases from like the local grocery store, which was actually like an extremely popular thing to do like right there on campus, because you would just see kids and groups of people just walking around holding cases, like 24 cases of the cheapest beer you could find. And when everybody would just walk between all these different frat parties, because every weekend there'd be like 4 or 5 that would go on at the same time, and they would ID you and charge you an admission to get into these things. It was like a really well orchestrated kind of like party scene, just not like the huge ones you see in movies and stuff like that. And I am no way advocating underage drinking, but you know, I'm telling you a story and I'm not gonna lie to you. I did a decent amount of drinking when I was in college, but actually it kind of died down when I got to like my junior year. So really, as soon as I turned 21, we stopped like partying all the time because, you know, school kind of picked up and the future kind of came knocking. But in them early days, we would just rock around with cases of beer, just go bum them off friends, because someone in our group of friends would always have like the beer hookup and we'd always just go meet them at the party. And this night, we actually didn't have any beer. We were all on Broke Street. We didn't have any cash, so we just got into the party. We all had fake IDs, if you're wondering how we did that. Back in the day, I don't know if it's still around, and I almost don't want to say it just in case it is, but there used to be these websites that would sell you like novelty IDs, and if you got it like the next state over, no one ever fucked with you. But of course we all had them, and we got into the party no problem, and we met up with my friend Alex, not my ex-girlfriend Alex, but this really tall, funny, goofy guy that was just absolutely hilarious and had a hot sister. Now he didn't have a whole lot of beer either, but it wasn't like we were out there to just get smashed, but we of course wanted to have a few drinks while we're at this frat party. And we got there kind of at the end of the party where all the beer like stock had run dry, so everybody was kind of running around trying to find beer, and a lot of people were leaving to go get beer and things like that. But there were, of course, you know, a certain amount of people in the crowd just holding cases. So the original plan was to meet up at this frat party and then go back to my dorm room to continue drinking. The first hiccup in this plan is we didn't have anything to drink, but Alex had a plan. He knew something that we all kind of knew, it just never really depended on it for beer before, is that right around 1:30, 2 o'clock, the party gets broken up. Every single time, the cops just kind of walk right into the backyard with their flashlights, shining them around, telling people to get the fuck out of there. It was a normal occurrence, and every single time it would happen, the people that were under 21 would always put their cases of beer down and just walk away. And of course they did this because if you got caught drinking underage, like around the college campus, not only would you get arrested for underage drinking, which is serious, but you would also get in a shit ton of trouble with the school. The school has a zero tolerance policy against kids that are under 21 drinking. So if you get caught anywhere near the school or on school property with alcohol or just blow anything over a .00, you're just like totally fucked. You're put on academic probation. It's like fucking a really big deal. And I know this because I've actually been caught one time before in that dorm, but I didn't actually get caught. If you guys remember my friend Jonathan, you know, the guy who wrecked the rent-a-car and who I also got arrested with and went to jail with. So another classic moment in his history, we were up in my dorm room and it was right after we had discovered something called a beer bong, which is basically a funnel that allows you to drink one whole beer like super fucking fast. And we had just gotten it, and I think I was like a sophomore, he was a junior, but we had never really played around with that because we just weren't that serious into drinking. We weren't in frats and stuff like that. But he had attempted to do a couple, because you can do a couple and then after you knock a couple down, you just feel invincible. But on the third one, I guess it hit him wrong and he actually ended up puking. Well, he ended up puking right out of my window, and well, fate just decided to be a dick that night, and well, all the throw up landed on the RA's air conditioner. So if you don't know what an RA is, it's like the residential advisor. He's kind of the guy in charge of the building, and he usually has an apartment at the bottom of the building or somewhere. And since his apartment had been like added onto the building, he had his own air conditioner unit, and well, it made his entire fucking room smell like puke. And it wasn't exactly hard to find out where the puke came from because it was dripping down from my window. So he instantly came up to my room and knocked on the door and all this stuff. And, Jonathan was there and he was over 21. So they ID'd him because he was the one who said he puked. And I just acted like I wasn't drunk, so I didn't actually get in trouble. But I got this ridiculously serious warning because the puke counted as something coming out of my window. And if you get caught throwing anything out of your window in the dorm room, you get kicked out. It's like an instant kicked out. Well, anyways, back to the frat party. If sure enough, the cops came and a whole bunch of kids that were under 21 just dropped all their cases, and Alex just calmly walked behind them and just picked them all up. And there was so many of them, he even ended up handing some of them to me and Chris. So both me and Chris have a full 24 case of beer. He's got 2 of them. He's just double fisting it, and we just ended up walking back to his apartment. But at this point, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was just tired. I wasn't about to start drinking at 2:30. And I think this was a Friday night, so we had all been up since really early for class and things like that. So we decided just to kill it. Me and Chris actually lived on campus, and obviously we can't just walk on a campus with these massive cases of beer. So we ended up borrowing some backpacks, and we filled both of them with all the beer we had. These things were filled to the absolute brim. We had 48 beers between us. Well, with that being handled, we went ahead and headed back to our dorms. And this was a completely uneventful walk. We just walked back to the dorm room. We said hi to the security guard. We got in the elevator. And well, there was this funny thing we liked to do in the elevator, and we did it all the time just as a joke to fuck with people. And what we would do is we would open the elevator doors as it was moving, and it would stop the elevator, turn off all the lights for 10 seconds, and then come back on, and everything would be fine. And we did this literally every day, no big deal. But we had never done it twice in a row. And well, I guess we picked tonight to try it, because of course we did it the first time, and it was funny, and it closed, and we kept on going back up to our room, and it was no big deal. And then Chris decided he was gonna do it too, and well, the second time he did it, it got stuck. All right, so let me break down the situation right now. We're stuck in an elevator, we have stomachs full of beer, we have 2 backpacks filled to the brim with beer, and we're under 21 on campus. Safe to say we were freaking out and had to pee really bad. So of course we start hitting the emergency button or calling the front desk. No one answers, no one says fucking anything. The door's stuck open and we're in between floors, but we can't exactly squeeze out because there's not enough space. Not that I would have even tried if there was. There was basically 6 inches of space where we could talk to the people on the floor. And of course we called our friends and they all kind of gathered around and thought it was absolutely hilarious. But there was not enough space for us to pass beer through or the book bags. And no one really wanted to try shit because, well, we were stuck in an elevator shaft, and although we weren't wasted, we were definitely buzzed a little. So we're both just sitting in there trying to keep our cool and kind of fucking panicking. Chris was the first one that decided he just had to pee, and I think our friend Andrew actually squished a bottle through and handed it to him, and he actually peed in the corner. And listening to someone pee in an elevator is just extremely awkward, especially when you have to pee, and I wasn't gonna pee into a bottle. I was just set on waiting. But eventually the security guard came up and talked to us and said that the fire department was on their way, that they're the only ones that can get you out of this elevator, and we're like, oh, fucking shit. I was like, dude, you can't just help us out here? You can't punch in a code and get this fucking thing going again? He's like, nope, I can't do anything because of insurance. The fire department's gotta do everything. So we're like, ah, damn it. So 20 minutes later, the fire department shows up and there's a fucking shit ton of them, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, so they're all pissed at us. And they all know what happened. We had to have fucked with it because there's no way the elevator door would just open in the middle of the fucking floor. We, of course, claimed innocence and just said we didn't do anything. We were just standing here and all of a sudden it fucked up. But how they got us out is they opened the door on the floor above us and then set up this harness rope pulley system and lowered themselves on top of the elevator and came through the door on the top. Now what made this situation extremely nerve-wracking wasn't the fact that we were stuck in an elevator. It was that they could only take us out of the elevator and we had to leave our book bags in the elevator. And you're thinking, what's the big deal with that? It's just your book bag, you'll get it back later. Well, we had fucking 2 cases of beer in there. If you picked up the book bag, it was very obvious what the fuck was in there. But we had no choice in the matter, so obviously the firemen came into the elevator, hooked both me and Chris up separately onto this fucking rock climbing setup, and they just hoisted us out of there, and we got out completely unscathed, no big deal. And of course I asked about the book bags. I was like, when can we get those? Can he bring them up? They're like, nah, we'll just get it later. As soon as the elevator is fixed, the security guard will have it. And we're like, god damn it, that's the last fucking person we want to have that. But the security guard came up and was like, hey, do you want me to call you as soon as I get the book bags, or do you want to wait till tomorrow and come pick them up whenever you wake up? And I was like, no, call me right away. So I had to stay up for like another 2 hours after this and just wait for the security guard to call, and he finally did. And I ran down there to get my book bag, and he didn't say shit. He didn't look in it. Obviously, there was like no big deal. Now I tried to take Chris's book bag too, but they wouldn't let me. They said they called him, but he never answered. He didn't give a fuck, I guess. I was extremely worried because I had already had that warning, so the smallest thing and I was getting kicked off campus. And having only been at the school for like a month, that would have been a terrible fucking thing to happen. Luckily it didn't. Chris got away with it too. He went and got his book bag the next morning. They never looked in it. It was no big deal. And well, we drank the beers the very next night. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you tomorrow.